In this video, we'll talk about collection framework. Now, what is collection? Collection is a package. It's kind of package in Java. So basically, we have three types of collection. So when you hear about this collection, so this is an interface in Java. If we talk about this collections, this is a class, and if we talk about a simple collection, this is a concept. So basically, we have these three collections. One is an interface, second is a class, and third one is your concept. Now what we will do is let's try to use the concept of collection. So initially before that what we'll do is we'll see why we require collection. So let's say we have five elements. So in order to use those five elements we need an array, right? So let's say we have int array which is a. In fact, you can define an array in this format also. We can use int bracket there. So yeah, we can define it anywhere. So for this example, let me go with this declaration. So int a bracket new int, and we specify a size of 5 elements. Now, so once you specify the size of an array, from the initial point to the last point, the size of this array will be 5. Now you cannot change the size of this array. You cannot reduce it, you cannot increase it. What you can do is you can just specify a new array. If you want to specify the size of array as 10, so we need to create a new array altogether with the same reference. So this is your new array with the same reference, right? So but once you declare an array, the same array cannot be changed. You cannot change the size of that array. In fact, you cannot delete also. So because the array takes the continuous location in your memory. Now, in order to use a dynamic array where you can change the values, you can use something called as collection interface. Now, collection is an inbuilt interface, belongs to a package java.util. So you can just import the package java.util. Let's specify the name as C, and then since collection is an interface, we need to use, when you create the object of this collection, we need to use a class which has implemented this collection. Now if you see the hierarchy, collection interface is extended by, you have the new interface called as list. And there's a class called as ArrayList which implements this list. So we can use ArrayList class to create the instance of collection. Again, this ArrayList class belongs to a same package which is java.util. So both this package, collection and ArrayList, belongs to java.util package. Okay. Now what next? Now let's add some element here. Now in order to add the elements, what we can do is we can simply say c dot. Now there's a method called as add here. So you can see there's a method called as add, and using this add method you can add elements. Let's say I want to add integers. So I will say 4. Next integer will be, let's say, 2. We'll go for some bigger number now, let's say 8. So we can add any number of elements here. So initially the size is not defined, right? But let's print the initial size of this array. So if I say system.out.println, and let's see the size, because we have not defined any size here. In array, when you declare an array, you need to specify the size. But here I have not defined any size. So what we'll do is we'll print the size of this array. So we'll say c.size. Now in case of array we use something called as length. In case of collection we need to use size. Now if I run this, see we are adding all these elements but we are not using it. I guess the warning is specified the same. Warning, it's a collection. Okay, if you say c.size and if you say run this application, you will see answer is 0, right? So initially the size of this collection is 0. But what if I print the same thing after adding some elements? So if I run this now, and the output is 3, right? So this collection it's your dynamic array. So you can add any number of elements at runtime. Let me add one more element here. So we'll say add 20. Now we have these 4 elements here. Simple. Now in order to print all these values, so let me, after printing the size, we'll say, we'll define it as size, so we'll say size colon plus. Now it will print the size. Okay, let me remove this the statement here. We'll print the size after adding the elements. Now let's print these values. Now in order to print, in order to fetch, so to add elements we use add method. So obviously to fetch we need to use some method, right? So let's see the method available here. So you can simply say c dot. So there's a method called as let's check, which is the method which will give me the data as uh, uh, alright. Now that's the issue. Now what we can simply do is to print those values we can use a for loop or for each loop. If you remember enhanced for loop, you can simply say it is as int I colon and then you have to specify the size which is with the collection which is C. But unfortunately in collection you cannot fetch data in an int format. You need to specify because all these elements by default they are of object type. So we have to specify it as object. Okay. See, if you add elements here, the type is not specified, right? So by default the type is object. So we cannot write int. But I want to print now. So can I print object? Let's try. So if I say system.out.println and we can specify here it says I. So it will print the element which is I here. And if I say run as Java application, so let's see the output, it is 4, 2, 8 and 20. Simple. So this is how we need to use the collection and we can add elements using add method and you can print it with the help of for enhanced for loop.